vision for the project formed out of confusion about what art can do in this moment. I wanted words to greet people, to acknowledge their heartbreak, and also produce some meaningful pathway towards hope.
I think of poets as kind of ambulance drivers. We're tending to people that need help. In this moment, it was critically important to find a way to give voice to human spirit, to hope, to humanity, to our shared heartbreak, our shared grief, and our shared purpose for a better life, for something better beyond this on the other side of it.
It's a very literal title, Love Letters in Light. It's a project of reminding people that language is very much a part of what it means to be human. I think putting poetry in a public space can create those collisions where we remind people that they have language and it can save you.
It's lo-fi scrolling LED signs, which we're used to seeing on the taco trucks on storefronts, and words, just 15 words.
Poetry is essential language. It's the language that communicates with color, almost with fragrance, our wishes, our desires, the ways in which we hurt, our pain, and our absolute need to connect. You can do that with a few words. You can do that with a scroll.
Love Letters in Light is our way of telling our stories, is our way of reaching young people, elders in our community, and holding space for all those that are no longer with us.
We're used to saying things being sold to us or told to us, but never in conversation with us. And this is. Also, to see my words in both of my languages, they don't always get to exist that way. It feels very tender, very special.
It's not trying to tell you to buy something that you don't need. It's not associated with capitalism. It is there to do what language is meant to do.
I think poetry is the language of the heart. I think poetry is the heart of literature. And so it's so appropriate to have this centered at the library.
I think that buildings like this, having words written by Angelenos in front of them, kind of allows people to have a stake in their community in a way that they never had before, and to also feel like they own something. I mean, these are our civic spaces. They belong to us, ideally. I think it's like a quiet, revolutionary thing that we did.
As undocumented peoples, my mom always instilled into me to be invisible, to be small, to not be seen, because it would probably be our life, you know? One thing that she did do for me is take me to a library. You know, she instilled in me building this world within my imagination, within my heart. As a trans and non-binary person, as someone who was formerly undocumented, words have always been my way of documenting that we exist. To come from this place of being hyper-invisibilized, and then now seeing that I'm a writer and that my words matter to the right people and that I can showcase it in a public space. I think the shock is why me? And then it's well, why not me? Which means, why not everyone else?
I was always somebody who hid my writing, or somebody who thought that my writing wasn't good enough. I came here to see my poem with my 2 children. And I told my kids, hey, you guys, you see that up there? Mommy wrote that. And to me, to see their little faces light up like that, that was big for me. That was everything.
It was really important to me to have the voice not just of professional writers, but also the community, because language belongs to all of us. I didn't know when I set the open call if we were going to receive 20, 30, 200. I had no idea. Then 1,100 was kind of beyond what I had expected.
We tapped into something there, the deepest emotions of the human condition, which is, I was here, proof that we actually existed. Because otherwise it feels like our existence is kind of like a dream, it's so short.
It's so powerful and beautiful, and it makes me so excited that all of the other people that participated in this project to get to know that power.
There is a forest inside of each of us, and the trees are reaching and stretching for other forests.
Poetry is not a luxury, as Audre Lorde teaches us, especially now, because so many of the ways that we're accustomed to communicating with one another are not available to us, not the way they have been in the past before this pandemic began.
We've all experienced loss. We've all been changed in all kinds of ways because of the pandemic, and I think we all can use words of resilience and inspiration at this time.
We go through a lot of things in life, and when I just read it, I think back at it, and I'm like, wow, that's really a beautiful thing, everything we go through. Even the ugly parts of life, there's beauty in it.
How do you process the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people? More Americans died in the last year than in essentially every war America has been involved with combined.
We're a fix-it culture. It's like self-help, right? I mean, if you feel this, get over it, move on. I mean, grieving is living with grief and within grief for the rest of your life. It never disappears. In fact, it changes and it morphs, but we're not supposed to feel those things. And so to me, Love Letters in Light is to acknowledge that loss, to sit in that space of that loss a little bit, but then to remind us that we're not alone in our loss.
Leila, our curator, was very clear in that she wanted us to be brave with the poems that we submitted. She wanted to challenge the library. She wanted to challenge us as well. It wasn't just about safe poems, it was about authentic poems.
It happened to be the year after George Floyd was murdered, and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and Michael Stewart and Eleanor Bumpers, and my friend Poogie. And I didn't want to write bullshit. I wanted the work to be strong enough to carry us all, the living and the dead, because they're still here with us. They stand beside us. We're on their shoulders. We carry them. And the challenge was to create work that was meaningful for everyone.
Some people believe that the actual language that you're writing or the poem that you're writing isn't complete. It hasn't sort of fulfilled itself until it's been received.
To be able to come back and see something encouraging, that somebody thought of you and left you a love note, I think that that's a gift that we're giving to each other.
One of the things we want to do here at the library is center welcoming people back into the library, welcome them back to their lives. this project just kind of wraps its arms around the community and says that we got you. We've always had you. We got through this. We'll continue to get through this. And this is one of those reminders.
I wanted to essentially give them permission to feel in a public space.
I just hope they feel the love and they feel peaceful and they feel seen and held.
I hope that there are ways that this project can live on. I hope that people will remember those messages as a bright spot during a very scary, sad time.
It takes a lot of work to create the world and the future that we deserve, but I do feel like this project has successfully occupied that space.
I've always been angry. My mom's always been angry. My people have always been angry. Angry at the plague of racism, at the plague of COVID, at the lack of support. I have a poem that I submitted for Love Letters in Light. Let my anger turn into a dozen doves. And I know my anger is such an important fuel for everything that I've done, and it's valid, but if for a second my anger could turn into a dozen doves, bitch, I would sleep real good tonight.
I awoke this morning, a tear between my teeth. Speaking set it free.
In this one recurring dream, the angels all arrive together as we thunder towards our mirrors.
There is a bus, a child, a mother, laughter, magic.
Let me tell you a story about hope. It always starts and ends with birds.
Contigo me siento reina. ¿Qué tal si me pierdo en ti? Tus ojos esmeraldas. Al verte me alivia el alma.
The world shut down. Our love broke open.
We are working on there always being a tomorrow for you.
I'm glad you asked. Because we have this.
Some of these poems are okay.
And this is me.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I can't stop laughing.